ROM hacks are awesome, and NES ROM hacks are the coolest of all. On this special Cygnus Destroyer video, we're going to take a look at some of modder extraordinaire Pacnsacdave's amazing and totally free NES ROM hacks. Move over, Billy and Jimmy Lee, because here comes Chuck Norris. This mod of the Technos and Trade West beat-em-up places the living legend himself in the shoes of the typical protagonist, making the OG meme become a reality. The bearded brawler faces a horde of opposition from the usual suspects and hooligans to the falling stalactites, boulders of doom, and other stage hazards, and he's easily able to overcome this with his One Punch Man-esque powers. The Double Dragon Chuck Norris edition is nothing more than a gimmick, but it's a very clever one, and anyone who is around when jokes about the Texas Ranger were all the rage are guaranteed to get at least an hour of enjoyment from it. The Back to the Future Enhanced Edition makes a number of changes to the despised LJN title to make it more palatable to the average retro gamer. For starters, Dave gave it a massive graphical upgrade in order to make it more faithful to the source material, meaning that Marty's vest is now orange and his siblings actually look like people instead of ghouls. The annoying and repetitive music loop has been retained, but there are significant alterations to the core mechanics themselves, with the lives being boosted to infinity and the countdown clock being permanently frozen in place. The biggest and most controversial change is the complete elimination of the Lou's Cafe bonus area. Lou's Cafe has gained quite a notorious reputation over the years as being the permanent roadblock in many people's playthroughs, and while I can understand and sympathize with the scores of frustrated gamers, I feel that this went a little too far in nerfing the challenge. With that said though, the arguably more frustrating Lorraine encounter is left intact, so there's still quite a number of tricky spots and hurdles to overcome. Regardless of whether you're a fan of the original game such as myself, or you despise it with the fury of 1,000 suns, it's undeniable that Dave's tinkering really did improve this notorious offender from the Rainbow of Doom, but it's most likely still not enough to improve its negative reputation. With that said though, I highly encourage you all to give it a try, especially since it won't cost you a single cent, but be sure to go into it with an open mind and keep your expectations firmly in check. Metroid Dark Alliance is an unofficial sequel to the NES classic, and it's based on the Sunsoft gem Blaster Master. In it, we get to control Samus and her ship and traverse traditional side-scrolling environments and isometric mazes. Dave's decision to use Blaster Master as the source material was an inspired one that simultaneously stretches the boundary of the familiar franchise and pays tribute to it and its unique atmosphere in a truly magnificent manner. I was very impressed with the way that the signature elements from both franchises were fused into each other, but I was unable to make much progress during my short recording session due to the often cryptic nature of the format. In spite of my lack of personal success, I would still absolutely recommend giving this a shot, though you might want to have a guide ready at all times because you're most likely going to get lost just like I did. Are you a bad enough dude or dudette to take on this righteous ROM hack based on the cult classic John Carpenter movie? The answer is hell yes you are, as Jack Burton finally invades the NES thanks to Pacnsacdave. The mulleted truck driver single-handedly takes on an army of ninjas and other ferocious foes and kicks some serious ass to some rockin' tunes. The underrated 80s action star gets a fantastic pixel makeover, and he's joined by a supporting cast that equal parts surprised and thrilled me. I never expected to take on the werewolf from the NES game of the same name as a boss, but I just did it and it was freaking awesome! If you are anywhere as big a fan of this movie as I am, then you have to drop everything immediately and give this a try. You won't regret it. Continuing on the theme of 80s popcorn flicks is the POW hack Rambo First Blood Part 2. As with the Stallone-starring vehicle, First Blood Part 2 follows in the wake of the acclaimed original, but raises the intensity to a whole new level and pushes the action meter to the extreme. The Vietnam veteran infiltrates the enemy bases in order to rescue his kidnapped colleagues, and he's armed to the teeth with guns, knives, and other weapons. The 8-bit Rambo is not surprisingly one badass mother trucker, but the task he's agreed to undertake is Herculean in nature, and I got my ass kicked 6 ways to Sunday. Luckily, the staff at SNK programmed a cheat code in to act as a virtual lifeline, but the fact remains that this bare-bones beat-em-up offers a worthy challenge to put your mettle to the test, and any would-be warriors wishing to partake in this arduous journey better bring their A-game. Taking a detour from testosterone territory leads us to the 8-bit remake of Hyrule Warriors. Link and Princess Zelda, along with Impa and Lana, team up in this alteration of the arcade classic Gauntlet. Each of these brave heroes possesses unique traits and skill sets that help them gain an advantage over the mob of Ganon's minions, but the overall objective remains the same regardless of which is selected. We simply have to lather, rinse, and repeat the process of traversing the heavily fortified dungeons and locating the exits, but this is much easier said than done. Not only does the awaited adventure live up to the title of the source material, but the health bar rapidly reduces with each step a la Dragon Power, so an average playthrough of Hyrule Warriors entails an epic battle against outer and inner demons. While some might consider this to be unnecessarily stressful, I found this to be very fulfilling, and I applaud Dave for doing as good a job as possible in translating the 3D hack and slash action to the NES. If you're a fan of the original Wii U game or are fascinated by the concept of retro remakes, then you owe it to yourself to check this out. Captain America the Winter Soldier brings the leader of the Avengers back to the NES via a conversion of the ultra-rare and expensive Power Blade 2. The story mirrors that of its cinematic counterpart and involves the titular super soldier infiltrating his allied headquarters in order to root out the Hydra influence. The captain swings his signature shield throughout the 5 levels of intense platforming action, and Dave's masterful mingling makes this Taito title feel brand new again. My only gripe comes from the strict checkpoint system, but that's not enough to hinder my overall enjoyment, and I highly encourage every comic book and retro game enthusiast to download this excellent hack. Kratos comes to the Nintendo Entertainment System in a big way with 2 unique hacks. The first puts him in the realm of Rygar, and the second sends him to Castlevania. Regardless of which mod is chosen, the star of the popular Sony IP wields his Blades of Chaos against the various ghastly creatures of the night. While the former places an emphasis on maze exploration and the latter opts for the straightforward side-scroller route, they both have their strengths and weaknesses. God of War 1 offers a larger, non-linear world to explore, and the titular deity makes frequent appearances to taunt the morally great protagonist, but the immense scope makes it easy to get lost in. The sequel does a better job of amending the source material and offers a more satisfying meat and potatoes approach, but the challenge ramps up way too quickly, and the onslaught of flying pests made me want to tear my hair out. In spite of these flaws, I had a blast with both of these PlayStation ports, and I highly encourage all of the Sony loyalists in my audience to load them up in your emulator of choice. Here it is, the one you've been waiting for. It's Rick and Morty. Dave's most recent project places the stars of the popular Adult Swim cartoon into the world of the Tengen port of the Sega arcade cabinet Alien Syndrome. Owing to its coin-op roots, the objective is extremely simple. The duo have to fend off the ET invasion while simultaneously saving the innocent bystanders before battling bosses lifted directly from the source material. These character references are sure to please fans of the franchise, but they did absolutely nothing for me since I've never watched the cartoon. Nevertheless, I got a huge kick out of the Smash TV-esque gameplay, so it's abundantly clear that Rick and Morty has something to offer for everyone. And last, but most certainly not least, is a new entry in Dave's catalog, but one that I'm sure will ascend to legendary status in no time flat. There are many monumental mods out there, but not many can claim to have restored a long-lost licensed tie-in to its proper glory. I was beyond excited to see this on my most recent visit to Dave's site, and I'm thrilled to be able to share it with you all right now. So without further ado, let me introduce to you all the one, the only, Sunsoft Terminator. Yes, my friends, Dave did the unimaginable and resurrected the long-lost Sunsoft Terminator. The game that was eventually brought to life as Journey to Silius is one of the best entries in the Sunsoft catalog, and it's made even better with the James Cameron license. The action is tight and intense, the tech-heavy aesthetic creates the perfect mood, and the music, my god, the music! While the NES would later get 2 Terminator titles, Dave's superior skills have ensured that the optimal iteration is widely available to the retro community, and for that we all owe him a debt of gratitude. And there we have it, the real NES Terminator finally exists, and you can play it and a bunch of other amazing ROM hacks by visiting Dave's website. Be sure to click on the link in the description below and return for another review next week. But until then, this is Matt, aka Cygnus Destroyer, signing out. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw and you want to see more, the boxes on the screen right now will lead to some more of my videos. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking on my avatar in the bottom right hand corner. Thanks again.